The Doorbuster sale at Doors Plus for 4 days only. Save up to 50% this weekend. And we can fit, paint, stain and deliver. Visit a showroom for a free measure and quote. At the 4-day Doorbuster sale ends Monday. Doors Plus.
No fuss.
To hear all of today's Australian racing, listen to RSN Extra. That's on digital radio in Melbourne, on the RSN app, and streaming at rsn.net.au.
Love racing, love Hong Kong. The new Hong Kong racing season begins Sunday, September 7th. And the season starts with one of the best, the return of Hong Kong's Horse of the Year, Ka Ying Rising.
He's the Usain Bolt of the equine world, Ka Ying Rising.
That's before he heads down under to the Everest. Hong Kong Racing returns Sunday, September 7th, inviting all Aussie fans to get on board. Love racing, love Hong Kong.
Here's another weekend offer from Bet365. Do you like a challenge? Try Bet365's 6-horse challenge this Saturday. If you're an existing customer, head over to the racing section and click on Games to submit your selections for a chance to win $50,000. Don't worry if you don't get all 6 right. You'll still receive cash if you correctly pick 4 or 5 horses. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Saturday, the big guns are blazing.
Pinstripe, EJ, you've done it!
RSN's Group 1 season begins with the Memsie Stakes. Our premier racing team is live trackside at Caulfield, so you don't miss a thing. Marie McEwen with her mounting yard ratings.
My pick of the yard, he's an easy horse to like from a yard perspective.
I'll have the live roving mic getting the pre- and post-race comment from trainers and owners. And Matt Hill is calling.
This is how we spring.
How Saturday racing should be with the Group 1 team. RSN Racing and Sport.
Does your business need a loan? With OnDeck, you can get funds from $10K to $250K approved in as fast as 2 hours. Lightning fast loans tailored to your small business needs.
OnDeck's lightning quick approval process saved my business when I needed it most.
Don't wait. Visit ondeck.com.au now and experience lightning fast funding for your business. OnDeck, your trusted small business loan specialists. T's and C's apply. All loans are subject to lender approval.
On RSN Racing and Sport, it's time for the grey areas with Jason Adams and George Ferrugia.
The kid was a human dynamo.
Are you sure you're talking about George?
George of the jungle, friend to you and me.
It is one of the great intros in radio, and unfortunately it'll take a little bit of a hiatus, but fingers crossed it'll be back. And it is the intro for Grey Areas here on RSN 927, talking all things greyhound racing as we have for the past year, in what is a big weekend ahead with the 3 national finals at the Q this Saturday night. A decent free-for-all at the Meadows tomorrow as well, and a meeting at Sandown last night to wrap up. My name's Jason Adams, and as always, joined by my very good friend and the great Georgie Ferrugia.
Good afternoon, mate. How are you?
I'm well. It's a bit saddening, isn't it, to be here for the last time in the RSN studios. We're going to do something at some point and keep the momentum going of this show, but at least from a sentimental point of view, whether it's been here or the old studio, which we both spent a bit of time at, it's a bit of a sad feeling today.
Yeah, it is. Even seeing some of the producers in the back. I mean, heard Michael Felgate talk about Ben Day, who was a great guy. I always wanted to talk about the Cronulla Sharks back in the old studio, and Riley Phelan we did a bit of work with as well. So yeah, look, it's a sad day for those guys. I believe they're all going out to have a nice frothy and deservedly so. So like you said, we'll be back in some format. I think there's still a little bit up in the air about what the hell's happening in terms of programming, but let's make it a good show.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. If it's the plan is it'll be on radio. If it's not on radio, we'll still do something, and make sure you keep across the GRV channels to work out what's going on there. Again, like you did on Wednesday, Pat Doyle joins us in the studio as well. Good afternoon, Patty.
Morning, boy. Oh, afternoon, boys. Yeah, sorry. Just gone midday.
Yes, just gone midday. Friday afternoon. Always a good time of the week. Hey, George, Sandown last night. It's actually, before we get to Sandown, did you watch that Legends game on Channel 7?
Oh, just a few mates sending me Cyril Rioli's goal.
That
was good.
I happened to be in the lounge room with one eye on the TV when it happened. That was a bomb.
Do you know what, guys? This is not silly. I mean, he's 36.
Yeah.
He would still get a game in, 6 to 8 teams as a small forward?
No.
He wouldn't?
Nah.
Oh, I tell you, imagine he got
He's
himself.
got the helipad on the back of his head. He's getting on.
He's getting on. But I tell you what, some people's forwards lines would love to have
a Cyril
old
Rioli.
Sis. Oh,
Yeah.
no. He's still, Jace, pound for pound, one of the best small forwards I've ever seen. Certainly live. He would scare the absolute crap out of defenders who would try to run away from him. He was one of the best tacklers I've seen.
Did
So it
he
was
kick
good
any
to see him back.
barrels in his time? Was he a barrel kicker?
No, not really. No. A lot of those bananas really ripper at that. He was a pretty unselfish player, but did you see most of it, or I didn't see?
Nah, not most of it. I tried to stream it while I was doing my stuff on Sky last night, and the stream wasn't playing ball, so I didn't see as much as what I would have liked.
So we both watched Sandown more intently, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Yep, we did. It wasn't a bad meeting, and tell you what, a bit dramatic early on. I was staggered when I was going through the form in the afternoon, George. In the opening race, there was a $2.30 favourite from the red called Free Power. He refuses to go past the leader. He was favourite and didn't budge. I couldn't believe it. And the race played out that way. It was
finished
all sorts of
$1.90
stuff happening. Crazy. I don't understand why. I don't get it.
Now, obviously,
He doesn't want to win the race.
Electrify
He
was
started
in the
favourite.
race, who would have started $1.30, $1.40, but was scratched, obviously. And so Free Power started $1.90 favourite and caught the eye of the stewards as well, getting a warning.
Not enough of the eye, but anyway.
Now, Jace, in race 2, a friend of mine, I sold a dog to a friend of mine, Matty Fennick, if you're listening, Matty, and he's got a good young pup called Avengement. I know he only ran 29.64, but he got home in 10.40 odd. I had a look at social media this morning, and Jason McEwen, obviously, is a great photographer at both city tracks, put a photo of Avengement with Craig, his handler, obviously from the Britain camp. But there's another guy behind him, and I sent him the photo. I said, Matt, who is that? Is that one of your mates? He goes, who the hell is that bloke? Some bloke's jumped in a photo where he doesn't even own the dog. So, if anyone knows who that guy is, please let us know. Had sunglasses on too, fair mullet.
It was a fair mullet. Sunglasses on at nights.
Sunglasses at
Somewhat of
night's
a
always a
concern.
worry.
So is that a hesitation of Matt getting the photo? Has it sort of changed his mind?
Well, yeah, I think either Matt's here or I know he was going to Bali at some stage, so I've got to text him. But I thought he just had a ring in or it was one of his, because he owns it with a few of his mates, but it's a mystery to him. I don't know.
So,
he's not going to get any prize money.
It might have looked a bit like Craig 20 years ago.
It might have been.
One of the great mullets in greyhound racing, Craig Solkin, along with Luke Thompson.
Yeah.
We move on, and firstly on Avengement, he looks, in all seriousness, a pretty handy type.
Yeah.
His turn of foot, at least last week, his section between I think it was a 50 and 100 metres, was that of Lakeview Emily. So he can really go.
And he cost himself last week because he's so green. Do you see him? He went up the bum of the leader and then tried to go around him and nearly got him on the line. I think they're going to have a lot of fun with that dog, but I was just impressed by the run home. When they're going 19.20s down the back, Jason, still running 29.6, you know you got something that is probably going to be a handy 600-metre dog going forward.
There's a decent race in race 3. Slick Felix was very good, leading all of the way. We scroll down the page to race 5, first leg of the quaddie, and I tell you what, we mentioned Sharapova's start on Wednesday and her return to Metropolitan Racing because she's generally a type that does her finest work on the one-turn tracks. She's not that strong. We knew she'd go forward. 492 to the first split.
If you don't mind.
If you don't mind, 2 100s outside of the first sectional record, jointly held by Fernando Bale and Black Magic Opal.
And look, Jason, I mean, we did mention, though, that she has got some form on city tracks. I mean, she's certainly no slouch. Look, her run-home times is never going to be elite, but it's
Damage
good.
is done.
It's good
Damage
enough
is
in this
done.
quality if you're running 1860 down the back. So to give you an indication, we spoke about Avengement, probably about 11, 12 lengths in front down the back. That's how quick she's going. I mean, she's a very fast greyhound. Tina Woman and Dennis Truan have had a lot of fun with her. So really looking forward to see if where she goes, because they've got a few different options with her. But with 492, I think some eyes sort of popped open, Jace, with that. The record's 489, I think.
490.
490?
489 at the Meadows, I'm pretty sure.
489, both Fernando Bale.
Yep.
Yeah, we used to be Black Magic Opal and then Fernando Bale.
Fernando's got it with Black Magic Opal at Sandown.
At 490.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but in the case of Sharapova Star, I mean, it feels like she's been around for a while and she's done a lot of racing. She's had 40 starts. She's not 3 until December. So she's still in that sweet spot. And who knows, with that sectionals and overall time, she could have an impact on a series like a Melbourne Cup.
Obviously, Jace, especially if you draw well and you find the front and there's a little bit of traffic behind you. I've seen Melbourne Cups won in slower than 29.34, I can tell you, and I'm sure you have too.
Yep, indeed. Stayers race was won by Paul Louis in race 6. Select Chiron was very good in a decent race over the 595 race 7, George. I mean, a lot of the attention was on Paul Xantippe after she was successful last week from the same draw, but it was a much more difficult field for her, and I think she was another one that started under the odds, and probably a sleeping giant of the field was Select Chiron, given he can do something like he did last night.
Yeah, absolutely. Got some good speed. That was a good little race too, Jason. A quality depth race all the way down. I mean, even to Red Stiletto, who'd won there more recently. Duana Fernando's been a grand old chaser, but Select Chiron, when you start running 9.13 early, Jace, again, you get yourself into a position to overcome a poor box draw. I think past marks heading in the right direction for 700 metres as well. Gary Stunnon, he's been a grand old dog as well, hasn't he? He had a real purple patch for a while there, Jace, didn't he? But he's getting on in the years, but still performing at a pretty good level.
And for his owner, Cole Brett, who's a mad Richmond supporter.
Mad Richmond,
at least
yeah.
Gary Stunnon's given him some joy this year.
They'll be right.
He's a popular dog, is he? Okay, race 8, the free-for-all. This was a good race. Bagman won it, but I tell you what, George, it's one of those contests where you've got one like Spring Regency go 29.52 and hasn't run a drum, and Vincent Bale and Dr. Asher have ran 29.3 and not gotten the chocolates. It was a good contest.
Well, we mentioned that Bagman had 2 races at Sale, and he probably, I know greyhounds can't speak English, well, at least the last time I checked, but if he could, he would probably go to his trainer, Dawn Johnson, get me back to Sandown, will you, please? And she did. She doesn't often keep him long away, but 5.02, Jason, when he starts running those sort of splits, we know what he can run overall, 29.24. So he's been a terrifically handy greyhound in this type of class.
And if Vincent Bale could speak English, he'd tell me where to go. I thought he was really poor last week at Wagga. And he was back to his best last night. He was powerful and looked the winner down the back. But, I mean, it's just difficult running down dogs running that sort of time. But it was really refreshing, and I loved seeing the way he performed last night.
Look, on the back of that, Jason, you wouldn't be surprised if he drew better next week, that, there's a 29.20 in him still. I mean, these fast greyhounds. We've seen it in those veterans races, didn't we, with Hector Fawley. Going through, running some fast time. Trooper Tears, getting down to the 29.16s and 20s at Sandown. So there's still some juice in the old legs.
And another super quick time on the night, race 10, Paul Kwan went straight to the front in opposition that's probably not as deep as what he's normally up against. 29.23 is the rounding, motoring.
It was, and after Warm Cockles let me down in my tipping, thank God Paul Kwan got the job done. I just thought it was enough of a drop in class, Jace, where it was going to get a clear enough run. I didn't think there was an overly huge amount of early speed, although 3 greyhounds did break 5.10 to the mark, but when he jumps, this greyhound is a very special dog.
If you want to get involved at any stage in the show, make sure you text in on the number 0416 90 50 52. We've had a text come in from our good mate Tim from Kilsyth. Guys, thanks for everything you boys have done for greyhound racing, and sorry, Georgie, for mocking you about keeping all of your good tips to yourself. Let's hope Tim Zoo salutes on the weekend in honour of grey areas. Good luck on the weekend, boys.
Yeah, thanks, Timmy, Tim. From Kilsyth.
Are you going to give us a winner for once of your own dogs today?
You want to take that sentence back?
Oh, that was brutal.
Oh, Paddy.
No, there's history to this. There's history to this. As well, we had a text message coming from Ash on Wednesday, who often sends in some really good stuff. He wanted some updates on some greyhounds, so we've got that. The first of them is In the Hub, who I'm told is trialling well and 3 or 4 weeks away from returning the racing. Good. So he'll be hitting the sweet spot of the year in good order.
Can you sense that we could have an all-star veterans race coming up soon, Chase? If we can get Scalacci up and about and In the Hub and a few of these others, it'll be Vincent Bale.
Yep.
Be fantastic.
Yep, 100%. Another one's McKenna. She's had a bit of a setback lately, but she's back in work now at 100% and hopefully back within the next 4 weeks. George, you had an update on Mapunga Tully? She's back in work?
Yeah, I believe she's trialling and should be back in it too. We're going to start to warm up and we're going to get some nice weather where, apart from the $1 Million Chase, I think greyhounds won't leave the state, Jason. We'll be racing for some serious money here.
Yeah, so it'll be all happening. Unreal Speed's another one where we speak about the the promise of Without a Trace. I mean, a few months ago, we're having the exact same conversations about Unreal Speed, weren't we? He had his first gallop today after a wrist injury, and Robbie Britton's going to learn a lot more over the next 4 to 6 weeks to see how he manages him.
Yeah, the only problem, and trainers will tell you this, Jason, is once, and I suppose it happens with footballers too, once you start getting on a little bit, you don't have that youngness in your legs. Starting to recover from a few little niggles here becomes harder and harder. So at some stage, they've just got to stand up. But he's just what could have been, that dog. There's no doubt about it. He still reached very, very high levels, but would have been great to see more of him.
Are you a believer in that the breed has gotten to a point where their fragility is different?
No.
Or it's always been the same?
No, I don't think so. I think there's always been greyhounds from when I first started. My dad used to tell me there's some dogs that are fast and they're just harder to keep on the track. And again, I use the analogy of football players. There's just some that are, always doing soft tissues and, probably don't get the best out of their career. Same with any athlete, I suppose.
So the big races and attention turns to the Q tomorrow night, where all 3 tracks will be in use for the National Straight Track Championship final, the National Sprint and also the National Distance. We spoke a fair bit about this on Wednesday, George, and the colour around it, but let's sort of hone in a bit as to who we think is going to win the race. So we'll go through this sprint race one by one. Box draw order, Mally Beauty. I'll be tipping her on top. Do you think she can win?
No, I don't have her on top, Jace. No.
What's against her?
Well, I just think the class of greyhound here.
Experience at this level.
Yeah, I just you often speak about that. Not the first split, but just the pressure that's on from Box Rise, and obviously her split was brilliant last week, but I just think there's a couple that are going to be breathing down her neck here who are better greyhounds.
It's different gravy at this level.
It is.
That.
I can understand your reasoning because we know what Mapunga Reward does. He jumps and wants to use a little bit of the track. But the speed in 4, 5 and 6 I think is a worry for me for Mally Beauty. And then you throw in the absolute Herculean performances of Tim Zhu in the last, however often he's done it. He's, I couldn't take. I know 650's okay, but it would be a surprise for me.
Box 2, Mapunga Reward. What's he going to be doing 50 metres into the race?
Well, we know what he's like. He's not brilliant early, never has been. He probably shows more speed when he's drawn off the track, especially in that first 100 metres. So he's going to have to rely on luck. And if he gets an ounce of it, Jace, we know pound for pound, he's probably the best finisher in the sport. The issue I have here is, again, the speed drawn in 4, 5 and 6. And if Tim Zhu and Flying Zulu are highballing at some stage, how does he navigate his way past them from a tricky position? So, again, he's favourite at $3.20. He's a little bit of an easing favourite now. Be interesting to see if he does finish favourite or Tim Zhu and Cumbria Jack have a late move. But look, I'd be rapt if he wins the race. I'm a huge fan of him, but I just won't be taking the $3.20.
I'd love to see 2 girls win for Tasmania. Unfortunately, I don't think she's capable of winning, but she will push off the track from box 3, which could have an impact on some of these. Sooty keeping in box 4 for Shane Stiff and Charmaine Roberts. She's been faultless recently, but it has come at Wentworth Park. So she goes back to the queue, where I think her last start she won at the queue as well. So she knows the place inside out. What can she do from a middle draw in a field like this?
Oh, look, this is probably her toughest test, although she's won at the queue at Group 1 level. I mean, she's a star. As I said on Wednesday, I think she's one of the informed greyhounds in the country. I think she'll have enough speed to overcome Mapunga Reward early, and Mally Beauty's got a little bit of speed, but it's the pressure on the outside and how close Tim Zhu is, because if there's anything with Sooty keeping, she's certainly not a weak greyhound, absolutely not, but you just don't want Tim Zhu and the likes on your back.
Iconic Jet in box 5 representing Western Australia's at $15. Now, if they all trialled solo, he'd be right in the conversation from a timing point of view. So he has had interstate trips in the past, whether it be in South Australia, Victoria, Queensland, where he hasn't served it up when it matters. So the strategy of Shane Williams, his trainer, is to keep him as fresh as possible going into tomorrow night. Does he have what it takes to surprise?
Well, he's certainly got the ability, and he's another one of these greyhounds, Jace, that probably like Mally Beauty, has to rely on a little bit of luck behind, and he's just got to be off and gone and, leading by 5 or 6 lengths, because the worst part of his race is the last part, and there's a couple of greyhounds here who are exceptional finishers. So he doesn't want to be pressured at any stage of the race, only because of the endurance factor, I think, with a couple of these other greyhounds who are terrific. You wouldn't even call them backmarkers, but their last split's extraordinary.
Cumbria Jack, who probably should be representing New South Wales instead, through the matter of one day, he's representing Queensland. He'll jump from box 6, and he has been a type that throughout his whole career he's been blessed with so much ability. If there's any asterisk to him, it is that he's a tardy beginner. So I'm willing to take him on from box 6 tomorrow night. What about you?
Yeah, look, the ability's there, but the box draw is just really sticky. You can never discount T. Brett, right? Obviously, unbelievable trainer and, track record holder here. Never discount him, but you're not getting really juicy odds, are you?
Tim Zhu, box 7, is another one that will be in the care of Tony Brett, the Hall of Fame trainer up there in Queensland. What does box 7 mean to him?
Well, probably a year ago you would say that this is a pretty ugly draw, but Jace, as we have discussed in 2025, he's dispelled those theories because he's had to deal with some from pretty crappy draws. He was a nose away from winning an Australian Cup from a wide draw, and he continually proved people wrong from the draw. So the beauty with him is, Jace, I don't want to jinx him, but he's just been beginning cleaner than he has at any stage in his career. He seems to love the queue. Got to be a big chance. Got to be a big chance. If you see that big bustling 38-kilo frame, Jace, coming down and in a good position on that first corner, I think you'll just say, look out.
All right, before we get to Flying Zulu, they'd be at the boxes here for the 7th at Hillsville. Favourite is the 2. Where's Dennis? At $1.50. Let's get to Victoria Shore.
Jason, thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to the team there with Grey Areas on RSN. Of course, the Greater 3UZ, a very special day for all concerned, and great to be with you as well. Where's Dennis is the short price select. He was well supported when last year on Sunday the 17th as the amber lighter switched on. Missed the start from box 4 and did go wide. He has railed here too, so he's going to be interesting to watch at box rise. We've got a bit more room given the scratching of Downtown Molly leaving box 4 empty as well. But where's Dennis to run the favourite here from box number 2? Getting set, the green light is on. We're ready to run. The favourite, where's the check? And they're off and racing, and where's Dennis away to a nice start. Ducks in behind the field, get towards the centre of the track. Canny Wildfire's move towards the inside rail. Boston Legal now moving to the centre there as well. Where's Dennis now stepping wide there from Miss Rebel, Unleashing and Thermal Smoke, one of the widest runners. But on the inside, it's Canny Wildfire. Pressed by Waltzing Diablo across the track is Where's Dennis. They hit the line. Canny Wildfire gets in. Holding out Waltzing Diablo, and Where's Dennis now into about 3rd place. Boston Legal was just off them. Further in the run, Miss Rebel, Thermal Smoke, Unleashing, one of the last to greet the judge. And the run, 19 and 68. Canny Wildfire. So a favourite there at box rise. Where's Dennis did look towards the centre of the track. I have seen him rail up here as well, so he's a bit interesting to watch. But Canny Wildfire, we can't take anything away from the winner. And a big congratulations there to Natasha Fullerton at Long Gully. A nice run. The Fauna and Brindle, son of Good Odds Harada from Zipping Spring. Canny Wildfire running to victory here at Hillsville. 3, 5, 2 and 1, 19 and 66 the time. And a close go all around, a neck by a neck. So competitive finish in difficult conditions. 3, 5, 2 and 1.
Thank you, Vic. 3, 5, 2, 1. Number 3, Canny Wildfire returns 6.20 and 1.30. 5, Waltzing Diablo 1.40. 2, Where's Dennis 1.04. 4th one, Boston Legal. Cornella pays $10. The Exacta $30. Trifecta $38.50. First 4 $253.70. Running double 2 and 3 $12.40. There was a late scratching in that race. Race 7 it was 4. Sub was 2 and it ran 3rd. To be live in the quaddie so far at Hillsville, you need 8, 2 and 3. Jace?
Thank you, Patrick. Just wrapping up the National Sprint Final tomorrow night at the Q. Lastly, George, Flying Zulu. What needs to go right for him to win this race from the pink?
Well, I'll tell you what, he's had no luck with box draws either, this greyhound. He's drawn off the track a lot, and we've seen him win the Harrison Dawson off a wide draw but he just nailed the start, Jason, against a very, very good field. So capability, of course. He's a star. He's won over $1 million. So that's what he needs to do, Jace. He needs to get himself into a nice enough position on that first corner, and then the ability is certainly there. So for Flying Zulu fans, $10 is going to be nice and juicy for them. He might even blow out a little bit more, I think, as they come for Tim Zoo and Cumbria Jack. So it's a great little race there.
Who do you think wins it?
I'm going to go Tim Zoo.
I like it.
Tim Zoo.
I like it.
You're
on the same page as Tim from Kilsyth.
Yeah, look, we've sort of butted heads for many shows, and it looks like we're sort of back on track right at the end. We've just got a couple of texts coming through here, Jace. Afternoon, gents. How good was Vincent Bale last night, Jace? Wink, wink. Got intrepid Bale in the car on the way to Wagga. Sorry couldn't get the job done last week, George. Hope for some better luck tonight. And another text message, how good is Sharapova Star going? We did mention that with that 492. We often see greyhound, well, I shouldn't say often. You sometimes see greyhounds run 498, 499, Jace, but to get another length out of it to the first section is absolutely elite. She's a bit of a star.
Yep, 100%. All right, the national distance final tomorrow night. Without a Trace, Ethanol Water, they're the big guns in it. Who do you think prevails?
We did mention that Without a Trace, I actually watched the trial live while I was up in the sunny state, and her back section, her last section, Jace, was outstanding, which is a good sign, showing that she handled the track. Box 5 is the concern, I suppose. I'm going to have a little bit of a play on Lady Wilson at $6, but and Red Dirt Road, as you mentioned, is a local greyhound who has not put a foot wrong in the last couple of months, but Without a Trace looks an absolute star going forward.
Straight Track Championship, mile a minute, serial sticker, that's the Victorian representation. Of course, the local Darcy Dakota is the $3.10 second elect. What do you think happens here?
Yeah, look, I'm Big V through and through. Both of us are. But I'm with the local Darcy Dakota.
Really?
Yeah. I just think its recent form there has been fantastic. Serial Stickers trial could not have been more impressive. I just think Darcy Dakota will be tough to beat. I'm going to have a play there at $3.10.
All right, so that's the 3 national finals at the Q tomorrow night. I'll be there on course for Sky. You can catch all the action there. Locally at the Meadows, it's a reasonable card, but clearly when you get to race 9, that's when all eyes should be on. Lakeview Emily, Paul Oswald, they meet again for the 3rd race in a row.
Oh, this is a great little race, isn't it? And a small field. With all due respect to the other greyhounds in this field, Jace, they've got them covered. So it looks a race in 2, and I know where my money's going, and that's certainly with Emily. Thought she was outstanding last start. She's loves a wide draw, and I think she's one of my better bets on the night. And hopefully we get, when I say a little bit of value, with Paul Oswald in the race, hopefully we're shopping around the $1.80, $1.90 mark.
All right, so how are you tackling the meeting from a tips point of view?
Okay, there's a couple that I like. I'm going to kick off with the staying race, Jace. I like Werris Bale, race 6, number 6. I think it's a greyhound that can set the tone early. There's not a great deal in it. Like there's a couple of greyhounds probably can run around the 42.90 mark, and I think Werris Bale can certainly do that. Went 42.80 a couple of starts ago. I do like Lakeview Emily. Probably go and have a couple of quiet beers tomorrow, and hopefully a couple of friends of mine have got some horse racing tips that I can multi up with Lakeview Emily, because I think she'll be incredibly hard to beat. And in the last race, Jace, sort of on the same thing as Werris Bale, I think Lamia Nonna Mary, race 12, number 1, should set a really good speed and be very hard to beat from there. Look, runs around the 30 and 20 mark, and I think that's probably going to be enough to win this race. So race 12, number 1, to bring us home. All
right, so the obscure outlay is something we introduced probably after a couple of months here on Grey Areas, and your strike rate through the early part of it was second to none. I think we might have landed 10 in a row or something like that at a point in time. So it's been a very successful part of the show and largely focused on the AFL. So now we need to get into some good areas. Now, I've sort of poked you over time about getting involved in Norwegian table tennis or Hungarian volleyball.
Probably, if Paddy listened, he would think that darts would be the one that you tried to get me involved
absolutely.
in. Yeah.
Well, darts isn't too obscure.
Yeah.
Anyway, what have you got for us this week?
Okay, well, it's sad that this is the last show in these studios, and like you said, there's a bit of a hiatus, and hopefully we'll be back. But one thing I'm not going to miss is the fact that the NFL starts on Friday next week. Yes. So Thursday night football in America, and we're going to have a couple of obscure bets for the whole season.
A week out. Okay.
These are regular season wins, unders and overs. Okay. So the Denver Broncos to win over 9.5 games.
How many games in a season?
There's 17. So I think the Denver Broncos will win over 9.5 games. The Green Bay Packers signed one of the best players in the NFL this morning, but they're still shopping at over 9.5. So take the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love as their quarterback to win over 9.5, and the Las Vegas Raiders to win over 6.5 games with a good coach. So Denver over 9.5, Green Bay over 9.5, Las Vegas Raiders over 9.5. I think that comes to almost $5, Jace.
Fantastic. I might even get on myself.
Can you please?
I can.
So you can get a little bit of an interest, yeah.
Yeah, because my interest isn't exactly at fever pitch for the NFL.
We just got a little text message here. This is just a it's just a message just come through. Patch, take it easy in Brisbane around the bars, please. Jeff Britton is only one more drinking session away from heading to Gap. That's Mark. Thank you, Mark, for that. Absolutely spot on. We've heard about Patch in Brisbane. He does grow a leg. He doesn't get any gout.
Come on. I don't know. Did I say it on Wednesday? As soon as I found out I was going to Brisbane, I text Jeff saying, make sure you don't have an early flight on Sunday morning. Because we do pair up. We're quite a dangerous combination. But he did say that Angela's coming along, which certainly keeps him in line, which is a good thing from his point of view.
Well, Angela doesn't mind a champagne or two either. And so if Mapunga Reward wins, with the humidity being low, not to affect your gout, this is going to be a pretty special weekend.
He won the Cindy's Magic going back a period of time now, and I think him and Corey Smith were drinking by themselves after the meeting. So there'll be a whole crew up there ready to rock after the last on Saturday. We've got to get moving, George. What else is going on? Dapto, of course, the megastar gets underway soon. There was news yesterday of all those great callers heading there. Darren Flindell, Matty Jackson, Tim Newbold.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Taramina nearly broke the track record there for Andy Lord. So she's going to start probably favourite for the Dapto Megastars. We've got a regional final at Richmond for the $1 Million Chase tonight, Jays. That's all going to start to kick off too. So we've got a lot to talk about. Hopefully we're back on air at some stage.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, Phoenix slot applications, they close on Tuesday, I think it is. So head to the Meadows website for all of that information. In the meantime, that's a wrap. Georgie, it's been an absolute pleasure to join you twice a week in this studio to bring everyone the latest in greyhound racing and have a bit of fun as well. And as you say, hopefully it's not too long until we're back in action in a similar way.
Going to miss these studios, especially the chicken sandwiches outside.
Pretty good cafe, isn't it?
Great canteen. Priced accordingly too.
Yes.
By that I mean at good prices.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't get stitched up here.
Thank you, Paddy.
Anyway, Patrick,
no, thank you. It's been lucky to fill in. Johnny's the mainstay around grey areas.
That's right. We'll catch up for him for a beer. Yeah, and you too, mate.
He'll be already 3 or 4 deep by the time you get there.
And to the listeners for getting involved at certain stages. So we really appreciate that. And as we said, fingers crossed, we've got something in motion shortly.
Good on you, boys. Quick break. The Friday Feast with Andrew Bensley's next.
The bright spot on your dial. 930, the greater 3UZ.
Oh boy, the Battlers have done it again, scoring another $26 best bet winner and more winners at $22, $15, $12, $10 and $10. And the Quaddie Killer was bang on, landing the $4,500 Sydney Quaddie. Cop that! Spring is here, so stop missing out. Remember last spring? The Battlers returned over 100% profit on turnover on Victorian Group 1s. That's using the best tote price which anyone can get. Make